member from Prince Edward Hastings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Energy this morning. On Friday, a letter from the CEO of the Ontario Power Authority accompanied the release of 20,000 additional documents about the ongoing scandal in your ministry. In that letter, Colin Anderson states that he informed the clerk of the Standing Committee on Estimates on September 27th that the OPA had additional documents to disclose regarding the Oakville and Mississauga power plants. When you clearly knew on the 27th, more than 2 weeks ago, the documents were still outstanding, why did it take you 2 weeks to do the honourable thing? Why did you allow your colleagues to bring disgrace and disrepute to this legislature? And when will you end your tenure as the Minister of Energy, do the honourable thing, and resign?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Speaker. On the 27th, the head of the OPA indicated to the clerk that there was the potential. Yeah. That's an important fact. That's the potential. The OPA and the public service side of the ministry both conducted a second very extensive search, and within hours of the release of the documents on the 12th of October, they concluded that search. I want to be very clear. At no point did I tell my colleagues in the caucus or the cabinet did I tell them, apart from the House Leader who's spoken to this issue, about the additional search. And at no time did I know what the search came up with.
Answer.
I didn't know the final results of the search until the documents were provided to the House, and I was advised within hours of that happening.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I would just like to say that the potential has become reality for the Minister of Energy. We don't believe that the CEO and the OPA would inform the legislature without first informing you, the minister responsible for this agency.
And if they didn't, they would.
Last week, Minister, I believe it was on Friday, you spoke with the Toronto Star about ministerial responsibility. Do you remember that? And now this morning, you're throwing bureaucrats under the bus. That is unacceptable for a minister of this legislature. You're shirking your responsibility. You can't hide behind these bureaucrats. You saw our energy critic, the member from Nipissing, stand here after receiving the first tranche of those documents, 36,000 of them, reading from whited out, redacted pages. They had clearly had cover-ups on them, and a lot of the information was not available. We're going to hold you responsible. That's our job as the official opposition. On behalf of the people of Ontario, we're going to do this. But I can't believe that you would throw other members of your caucus and other ministers under the bus. The House Minister has stood up several times. The Health Minister has stood up several times.
Seated. Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to just spend a second on this concept of ministerial responsibility and quote a very prominent expert. He had this to say, and I quote, "The minister is under no obligation to resign for something a civil servant alone has done. This was never what ministerial responsibility meant. The doctrine of ministerial responsibility, therefore, cannot always mean that a minister must resign for everything that goes wrong in his department." The member may be interested. That comes from a thesis entitled "Debunking Decision-Making: How do Governments Decide When Ministers Resign" by one Dr. Rob Leone, the MPP for Cambridge.